Hey everybody, welcome back to our virtual camp sessions. I've got a couple projects for you today, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, we're gonna be customizing two things today. We're gonna do a water bottle and then a ear warmer. I cut my designs out myself. You can either cut them out yourself or you can purchase them from an individual, maybe locally or off of Etsy, or sometimes you can find some pre-made items in the stores. The first one we're going to do is we're going to customize this water bottle. And here I've got my vinyl already cut, weeded, and put onto contact paper. I'm using a permanent vinyl, and I just used the Walmart clear contact paper. You can get it just about anywhere versus using a transfer tape, mostly from a price standpoint. So on this water bottle, you want to make sure you clean it really well. I do recommend, and it is definitely recommended by others, that you wipe it down good with rubbing alcohol, let it dry. That way you get any kind of fuzz, oil from your hands off of your bottle. Some people either line their designs up with the logo on the bottle or exactly opposite. I happen to have a big dent in this bottle, so I'm going to go opposite the dent. One thing I like to do is sometimes I'll use the top of the lid as a guide for me. So I'll kind of turn this so it lines up with what I'm trying to get my design lined up with or lined up opposite of. So I can turn this, and that kind of helps me have a visual for where the opposite side is. And I'm not trying to have to measure or guess. So I'm going to lay this down here on the table. And what I've done on my contact paper is I've cut it a little bit larger than my image. And what that helps me do is it helps me align my image before I have to pull the backing off of my vinyl. That way I can get my placement where I want it before my vinyl sticks to the bottle itself. So I measured my bottle. It was about 6 inches from this ridge to the hump in the bottle itself. So I cut my image at 5 inches long, and I'm going to just eyeball it roughly in there, try to keep it as straight as I can. Again, using the top of my lid as a guide. And this is where this little extra piece of contact paper comes in, because I can roll it down and then I can get a good look, and it's going to hold my place. Even if I let go, it's not going to go anywhere. So then I'm going to flip it upside down, and again, it's still where it's attached, and then I can pull my backing paper off. And you want to pull it at a pretty hard angle away so that your design stays on your contact paper or whatever you're using as a transfer tape. And I'm kind of just working it off. I went a little bit thinner than what I would recommend as far as my font goes. Some of these thin lines are sometimes hard to peel off, but sometimes they're the ones that are also going to come up off of your bottle if you do a whole lot of scraping around or bumping into stuff. So just be aware of that. I do recommend a bigger, bolder font, but I really like the way this one looks, so I'm going to give it a swirl. And then I'm just going to lay it back down, and I'm going to rub it down really well. You can also use like a credit card or a driver's license or something like that to help rub it down. I'm going to use my fingernails a little bit. And then I'm going to peel from a corner, and just like I did on my backing paper, I'm going to peel it back pretty steep instead of coming up. That way it doesn't lift and pull up my design. And you can do this with metal bottles, plastic bottles, cups, it really doesn't matter, tumblers. And there you have it. Design's on, looks pretty straight. You do have to watch if you get a bottle or a tumbler that's textured. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to get the vinyl to stick, What I like to do is I'll get it laid on there and then I'll hit it with like a heat gun or even a blow dryer to warm it up a little bit. And I'll take a tennis ball and roll it over. Don't rub, but just roll that tennis ball so that that vinyl, while it's warm, kind of gets down into the texture of whatever's on your container. All right, so easy enough. It's a fun little modification to any kind of bottle. I know a lot of us are carrying bottles around now. So I'm gonna set this aside. And now we're gonna do this ear warmer. So this is a heat transfer vinyl. It's a Sport Flex, which means it'll give and move because the material I'm putting on is gonna be a little bit stretchy and I want the vinyl to be able to stretch as well. So one thing, if you make your own decals on heat transfer vinyl, is to make sure when you cut it out, you've got the shiny side down and that you reverse your image. So when I cut it, it was like this going through my machine. And I don't want it centered because I don't necessarily want it in the middle of my forehead, but you can put it wherever you want. Maybe it comes all the way across, but I'm going to off center it just a little bit. And I've got a towel down, and I'm also going to put some parchment paper on top. So I'm going to leave the carrier sheet, but I'm going to put a piece of parchment paper down. And you can use an iron, but I've got this small little mini heat press that I'm going to use. And it's going to take it a few seconds. I'm going to have to move it around so I get my whole image. I'm going to take a quick peek. And the vinyl that you use on a heat transfer vinyl should give you recommendations on how hot, how long, whether you need to reheat it from the back of your material or not, and then whether you peel that carrier sheet off when it's warm or cold. And it'll vary from vinyl to vinyl. I'm going to take a peek at it again. It looks like it's coming off fairly well. When you're pulling it off, if it looks like it's not stuck, just lay your transfer sheet or this carrier sheet back down and hit it with whatever you're using to heat it up again. Now I'm going to let this rest. I'm not going to put it directly on my head because I want that glue to really cure and work really well and stick to my headband for a long time. So that finishes up our two projects. We did a bottle with just regular permanent vinyl, and we also did an ear warmer with a heat transfer vinyl that was a Sport Flex. All right, we finished up our two projects. As you can see, I've got the ear warmers on my head. The Sport Flex vinyl works really well for this type of material. And we also have our water bottle finished up. Remember, you can do a variety of projects. This is a good way to get creative and customize your stuff. So I'll see y'all next time. Have fun.